I think the issue of 3 days and 3 nights is really very important. Daddy gave an answer yesterday. Sometimes when the Muslim asks this question, they are very, very specific. And they ask genuinely because the Bible also talks about it. Jesus Christ, when he was talking about the signs of, his death and all of that, he told them that specifically that the Son of Man, just as, the way the Bible puts it, it says that just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Now, I want you to know this. Jesus is also very specific. He said 3 days and 3 nights. That's the reason why the Muslims are asking you. You understand? Because he said 3 days and 3 nights. And we did a calculation yesterday. If you calculated the death of Jesus Christ on a Friday evening, or if you say Friday night, that is one night. Now, the whole of Saturday was there, Saturday morning, and Saturday night it was there. So that's about one evening, one morning, one evening. So let's say 2 nights and 1 morning, right? From Friday to Saturday. Am I right about that? So we have 2 nights and 1 morning. And it rose on a Sunday morning. So that means we're going to be having 2 nights now and 2 morning. Where are because it's on the Sunday morning, not Sunday night, right? Sunday morning. So we ask ourselves, where are the 2 remaining nights? You understand? Where are they? So it's a question that they ask genuinely. And it's our responsibility to give an answer to them. Now, how do we give an answer to this kind of question? We need to understand what I have said about the Bible interpreting itself. The principle of hermeneutics. The Bible is the one that interprets itself. Now, how do we get to understand that? We can understand that by understanding the Jewish culture and the Jewish calculation of time. Now, let me give an example of what I'm talking about when this cultural thing comes in. When Jesus Christ was talking to his disciples, he was trying to talk to them about leadership, being serving others and all of that. When he came into the house, everybody was like, okay, we are tired, we're not going to be doing anything. Now, in the Jewish culture, when a visitor came to, see you or to greet you, it's a responsibility to wash the person's leg, because at the end of the day, dust would have battered the person's leg. So what you do is that you get a basin, wash the person's leg. It's a way of honoring him. It's a way of serving him. That is what they do. I think Abraham did that for the people that came to come and greet him. So it's like a culture, the things that they do. We don't do that in this part of the world, but that's their own culture. So you understand the background. Even though when Jesus Christ was doing this thing, he was trying to teach them humility, the Muslims see this particular act as a means of ablution. They will tell you, see what Jesus Christ is doing to his disciples there, he's doing ablution. So you Christians should come and also be doing ablution that we're doing. But if you read that verse very well, especially about 3 to 4 verses away from there, you will discover that Jesus was the one doing the washing for them. He was washing their feet. And he said that you guys should do the same thing as I have done to you. Watch one another's feet. Of course, if you go to the mosque today, the Muslims don't watch one another's feet now. Abi? They wash their own feet. So that alone disqualifies the ablution thing that they are talking about. But more again, you need to understand the culture behind it. The reason why Jesus is doing it. So that's why the culture plays a very, very important role. When we are reading the Bible, it helps us, the background information helps us to understand the Bible better. Now, talking about these 3 days and 3 nights of a thing, the Jews, the way they calculate their days or their time is that they calculate half a day as a whole day. Now, how do I know this? How do we get to know that is how they do their calculation? Let's turn to the book of Esther. I'm going to be reading that very briefly. Esther chapter 5. No, I think I should start from 4. Okay. I will start from 4. Esther chapter 4. I'm reading 16 and 17. All right, so 16:6, Esther 4:16. It says, "Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye from me. Neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day." Please, emphasis. 3 days, night or day. So that means you don't drink in the day or in the night for 3 days. I also and my maiden will fast likewise. And so will I go into the king, which is not according to the law. If I perish, I perish. 17, so Mordecai went in his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him, and that's the end of it. Now, note what Esther is saying here. That please you guys should fast for me for 3 days and 3 nights. That's what it says. 3 days, night and day, right? So that's 3 days and 3 nights. That's what it means. But interestingly, if you go to Esther chapter 5, verse 1, because this is the end of verse 4. Esther 5:1 says, "Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on the royal apparel and stood in the inner court and the king's house, over against the king's house, and the king sat upon his royal throne," and all of those things. Now note what Esther said. "You guys should fast for me 3 days and 3 nights." You understand? Now, if you look at that, the impression you have is that Esther is going to go to that place after 3 days and 3 nights. That's why you want to go and see the king. Thank you very much. But now we see now that on the third day, he has not even got it in the night. On the third day, Esther went to go see the king. What is the concept? The concept is that half of a day is calculated as a whole day. Now, we've seen from that. But another point you can use to prove this, because sometimes they will tell you, well, you're just making up stuff. How you can prove to them is that when Jesus Christ died, the Pharisees or the leaders, when he was telling them these things, they noted it and they understood it perfectly, the way I'm explaining. But when Jesus Christ died and he was in the tomb, listen to what they said. They said that, you see, this man, while he was alive, he said that he's going to rise up again. So they didn't even say, the calculation of the time he gave is not correct. That's not the allegation. The allegation is that when he was alive, he said he's going to die and he's going to rise up again. So they were counting the days the way Jesus Christ said it. They understood it. They were Jews. So that was not an issue to them. So that is how you understand the Jewish calculation of time. You understand? Half of a day, the way they calculate is calculated as the whole day. Now, if you have that in mind, when Jesus Christ said that I'm going to be there for 3 days and 3 nights, it perfectly makes sense. Because on Friday he was there, Saturday, and on a Sunday. Even though he rose on the Sunday morning, they still calculated as a full day. So I think that makes a perfect sense for that 3 days and 3 nights of a thing. I would have loved to talk about the Islamic 3 days and 3 nights, but time will not permit us to. We will talk about that later. Let's just deal with these issues. Amen. Now let's look at this woman in paradise thing. Engineer, please, can you help us with the hadith narration? There's actually an hadith narration in the... Oh, good. Now, you see, this question that she asked is a very important question. Very, very serious question. Because when... The question she asked was that if Allah is giving the men virgins and all of those wives, what are the things that Allah has prepared for the women? Very, very important. And this is one thing that you can use in ministering to Muslim women, especially the ones, that cover themselves and all of that. A whole lot of things in Islam. A lot of them don't even know the reason why they do the covering. There was a time ago that I did a Facebook Live presentation on the reason why the Muslims do the covering. And if you get to know the reason why, you pity them. It's not because of the piety part of it. It's because of one selfish man, Muhammad. Because his wife was seen, what do you call this now? Eating herself in the public. Just because of that, the wife was seen eating herself in the public, and then the revelation to begin to cover came in. You can't imagine that. So now, concerning this thing, this issue of virgins in paradise and all of that, she noted it rightly. But the problem did not start from now. As we have been noting today too, that we have not seen an explicit promise that Allah has given to women. You can't see clearly a promise, just like the men have been given paradise, wine, and all of those things. Women, you cannot point to a verse of the Quran that says that, the women are going to be given men, they're going to be given this. You can't see that. And just so you don't think that we are the one probing this issue, right in the days of Muhammad, when Muhammad was receiving all this revelation, the Muslim women were also worried. They were like, you're receiving revelations of the promises for men. What about us? What about us? Look at it. It says, narrated Umara al-Ansariya. It says that she came to the prophet and said, I do not see but that everything is for the men. Why is it that it's all the men that are getting these virgins? Why is it that it's all the men that are getting this vineyard thing, the fruits, all of these things? And I do not see anything being mentioned for the women. When all these revelations are coming, why don't you talk about this for the women? Now look at what happened. It says, so this ayah, that's the, Quran 33 verse 35. So this ayah was revealed. Indeed, the Muslim men and the Muslim women and the believing men, and it goes and go. You can check out the verse if you want to. But even when you check out the verse, you can still find a clear description of the reward that the Muslim women are going to have. Now, take a look at this. A woman is asking that, what's going to be my reward? Now, what you expect to get is that, okay, no problem. A verse is coming down. This one is going to be exclusively be for the women. But again, it's saying men and the women. We have seen the one for men. Come on. What about the one for the women? Can you show it to us? Still, we can't still find anything like that. So when you want to talk about that verse and the Muslim want to answer you, they will go and show you this verse, Quran chapter 33, verse 35. But yet that verse does not tell you specifically what the women are going to get in paradise. So it's not a problem that you're noticing now. It's good you notice that. It's a problem that have existed right in the days of Muhammad.